All right, people. All right, what is going on? Another good morning. Good morning to everybody. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and we're going to talk more about these Eagles. And we're going to talk more about these Falcons. You know how it goes. The off season is already started for both college and NFL, but it's still a lot to talk about. One, we're going to talk about the Eagles and how some people in the fan base really feel about our fan base in general, because I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter and I want to put my perspective in it instead of actually putting it out there on Twitter. So I want to have a quick discussion about that. Also, I want to talk about the Falcons, because the Falcons GM Terry Fontenot already put it out there saying that they're going to be going after the best player available throughout the draft. And that's very, very interesting. I want to really get into that and give you my thoughts as well. So another episode on deck. Thank you guys for watching and or listening if you're on the podcast platform, watching if you're over here on the YouTube platforms. I thank you guys. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, give me a high rating on the podcast side. If you're listening over there on iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, those are the platforms that are mostly on. And also whatever podcast avenue that you like to use, give it a high rating and share this show. Let people know in Eagle Nation and the people that are Falcon fans watch that wants to listen to what I have to say. I think it'll be very interesting. I really appreciate the support. Thank you guys. Thank you very, very much. Also, it's been, I won't say also. It's been a very interesting 24 hours. Georgia Bulldogs just won the national championship, and I already told you how I felt about that situation. But there are some people within the community or Eagle Nation kind of feel some kind of way about how some fans or quote unquote fair weather fans are actually giving props or actually rooting or happy that the fact that the Dogs won the championship. I don't think some of these people really understand the discord between Georgia Southern and Georgia. To be honest, if Georgia Southern was 1A the entire time instead of 1AA, it would probably be, I can honestly say if Georgia Southern was 1A the entire time throughout this whole 30, 40 years since we came back to prominence, this would probably be the biggest in-state rivalry in the state of Georgia. There's no doubt about it, because their first national championship, Georgia won with their defensive coordinator, which is now our coach, Urkel Russell. So it was a really big deal to have that connection between the two. And it is something that's really, like I said, there's something that's really significant between the two. So with that being said, we always bicker back and forth with the Georgia Bulldogs all the way up until now, because even since then, since Urk left and came to Georgia Southern and built his own program, we've won I think he won 3 national titles. Then Tim Stowers won one in 1990, and then I think I got that right. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. I can't count to save my life. And then Paul Johnson won 2 more, so we end up getting 6 national titles in the 1AA era. And Georgia was like in a drought ever since Urk left. So it's been a really big deal for Georgia Southern to get at Georgia Bulldogs. Now the Georgia Bulldogs has finally won a national title, and all the jokes of 1980 is gone. And like I said, I told you my thoughts about it. Congrats to them, but I'm not waving the pom poms at them, because even though my time as a football fan, I've been. This thing with Georgia Southern for me runs, deeper than your average alum, because I was a fan before I even attended school. I was a fan when I was in Savannah, Georgia, 9-10 years old, and I witnessed Georgia Southern beating Nevada in 1990. It was on television. Me and my grandfather watched it. It's one of the greatest moments, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but real quick, me and my grandfather was really close as far as watching sports. I mean, we watched that game, watched them win the national title. We turned around, and I remember watching the Braves 1995 World Series with him. So it was it was a really big deal for me to watch sports. So it's one of the things I never forgot. And it's one of the reasons why I became a Georgia Southern fan, because he was happy, I was happy. Just to watch a team from Georgia win a national title, just win a championship is a really cool thing. So with that being said, I just felt like back then, even though I was a young kid, okay, Georgia Bulldogs, I didn't necessarily know the whole situation with Eric Russell because I was a little bit younger then. But I always felt that, okay, they're a team from Georgia. They win, it's cool. If not, it's okay. I mean, even when Georgia Tech won it in 1990 as well, I was like, all right, okay, Georgia Tech won, that's cool. I was happy about that. But my main thing is, when I realized, and this mostly happened once Georgia Southern actually moved up to FBS, I started to see it, that there was a lot of guys in the Georgia Bulldogs camp, like fan bases, whatever, would talk down. And it probably was happening before then, but I didn't really notice it or pay attention to it until that happened. Because even when we played them, the time we should have won in overtime back in 2015, I was more like, okay, I didn't really feel that vibe, that tension like I see now on Twitter. And even before then, we used to play them beforehand, like in the early, mid 2000s, we used to play them. And it was just a game. But I really feel that the fact that we were in 1AA, which I don't take nothing away from it, it kind of curtailed something that could have been a huge rivalry if Georgia Southern was ever able to be 1A. I think it would have been a really big deal. Like I said, with that connection with Eric Russell, it would have been a really big deal. But nevertheless, it wasn't. But like I said, I saw a lot of people on the fan bases like really going at other people for congratulating Georgia, or actually their fans as well of Georgia. They, you got dual fans, and this is the thing, you're not going to change that. Our fan base, defining our fan base is basically based on being likable and winning games. That is the only way that we're going to get prominence in the FBS nowadays. This is one of the reasons why I was kind of skeptical about continuing running the triple option, because I feel like it's a winning formula, but it is not to the level where we need to be in FBS football. I felt like we need to get up with the modern times. We need to be winning 10, 11 games in the FBS, just like we did in the FCS, and actually start showing people not only that this team is a prominent in 1A or 1AA, we are prominent in 1A or FBS. So, that's the only way. If you want to define our fan base, you're going to know really quick based on how many games we win. I mean, I'm one of the types, I don't care if we go 3-9 every year. I don't care if we go 3-9 for the next 20 years. I'm going to be here still rooting for this team, wearing the gear, doing what I do, because I'm not a fan because I attended the school or I'm an alum or whatever. I've been here like ever since I was a kid. Like I said, I grew up. And the thing is, the sad thing about it is, there's a lot of people that I know that's from Savannah that grew up around the time I did, really didn't follow Georgia Southern like that. And that's another thing that's this fan base has to understand, and this fan base is going to have to realize this fan base is going to be very personal, and it's going to be, it has to become personal because it has to have an attachment. And like I said, a lot of guys that are alum are going to be somewhat fans, but the name recognition. Georgia Bulldogs is probably like one of the biggest names in all of college football, if not the biggest. I mean, you may have like Alabama, Ohio State, USC, Penn State, Notre Dame. You may have like 5 or 10 teams that are, worldwide known in college football, or just easily known for people who don't even know college or college in general. They're just that recognizable. So you're going to have people in the state of Georgia just going to be like Georgia Bulldogs, Georgia Tech. You're going to have people that's going to have those dual or tri fans that's going to be fans of 3 or 4 different teams. And I mean, that's just how it is. Like I said, I don't have a problem watching Georgia win a title, and I don't have a problem with the team per se. I never did. But the problem is like I said, the fan base. I mean, it's one thing to have like a real honest rivalry between the two teams, But it gets to the point where fans are just flat out disrespectful to the point where I don't want to sit on the same sideline with them rooting for a team. I mean, it's just an awful fan base when it comes to my school, and that's just the way I deal with it. It's nothing against the team per se. It's like I don't have a problem with Stetson Bennett, the Kobe Dean, or the coach or any of that, and Mark Richt or Kirby Smart. I don't have a problem with none of them. I think that it's phenomenal for them to build an organization or a program like that, but at the same time, it has to be attractive. And you gotta have and to bring in more fans, you have to be attractive. And I don't know, the growing list of fans, they're like true fans. But one thing I know, if you want to become a fan of a team, if you want to know how people become fans of teams, like genuinely become fans of teams, you have to understand that the team has to be likable. They have to create a moment in time that they will remember forever. Like I said, when I watched Georgia Southern beat Nevada in 1990, I mean, I can't remember who all was there. I mean, thank God for Captain Clack. You can watch that game again on YouTube. I'll probably put the link down in the description if you want to watch that game. That was my first experience really understanding Georgia Southern football. And that's how I become a real fan. Okay, it's a local team basically. I mean, Statesboro's like an hour away from where I live. My grandfather was watching, and I was just watching. And it was good to see them win. I mean, I think the last part of that game, they scored like 2 touchdowns or something. I mean, they scored a whole bunch of points in the fourth quarter, and I was like, wait, they shut the door on this game. And that's one of the ways that I became a fan. And I think with some people, even with Georgia Southern fans, alumni or alum, some people watched that game last night and became fans because the state of Georgia actually won something. Because even though that they're Georgia Southern fans or they're a part of Georgia Southern, it's good for them to see, okay, the state of Georgia won something significant, and they became fans. When someone was like closet fans to begin with. I mean, it's just really weird. But defining our fan base at the end of the day, I just feel that we need to understand that people who wear, the blue and white, people who put on this gear, it's really a close-knit circuit. A close-knit circle. It's been that way for decades. I mean, Georgia Southern is known all over the country now because you have people moving it around. But it was at one point where Georgia Southern, even with the national titles that they were winning, it still felt like it was more close-knit. And it's nothing wrong with that, but now we're playing big boy football. And this is one of the things I always talk about. We're playing big boy football now. And when we're playing big boy football, we need to get in order to where we can show that we play big boy football. Shout out to Coach Helton. I'm looking at what he's doing. He has another quarterback coming to visit this weekend or next weekend. We're going to have like 7 quarterbacks on the roster, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know, I don't know if y'all see what I see, but I see something really special happening at Georgia Southern. If everything continues to go on this path, I know it's still early or whatever the case may be, but if we continue to see this, it's going to be really, really good to see. It's going to be really good to see in the next 2, 3, 4 years, however long Helton's going to be here. Because my thing is, I feel like even now, if Helton stays for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, there's somebody right behind him is going to probably try to carry that torch. That's how you keep programs the way they are, especially group of 5 programs who could possibly make it bigger than what it is. And I think at the end of the day, Jared Benko and company, this is what they want. This is what they're trying to do. And I'm 100% behind them. And if those moves in those things that they're putting in place turns into special moments where people that don't know much about football become fans, that's the fans that you want. Those are the fans that you want to come and be a part. They don't necessarily have to be a part of the school. They don't necessarily have to be necessarily in the state of Georgia. But you just have to learn, you have to have a winning culture of what, in high expectations and fulfill those expectations. And like, case in point, 2 instances, my wife, she did not like sports at all. She did not care for sports. Like, now her family is really big on sports. I mean, she has family that has played and coached in the NFL, so they're really big on sports. I took my wife to a Hawks game. This was back in 2014. I think it was 2014, and she fell in love with the game because the experience. She fell in love with the team. She fell in love with the experience. She became a basketball fan. So she likes the Hawks. I like the Chicago Bulls. That's just the way it is. I mean, I don't think I'm not going to drop my Bulls for anybody. I mean, the Hawks, hopefully y'all win one day, but I'm a Bulls fan. But she loves the Atlanta Hawks. We started going to some Georgia Southern games. Remember the first game I took her to, when Shy Wertz was a freshman, we played Georgia State at Paulson. I think we ended up losing that game like 17-14 or something like that. But that day, she became a Shy Wertz fan. She became, a Georgia Southern fan. We turned right back around and went to the Camellia Bowl. Then, do I need to talk about the Camellia Bowl? We went all the way to Alabama to go to the Camellia Bowl. My wife was 8 months pregnant with our son, and she watched Tyler Bass kick that field goal. She's a Tyler Bass fan. She loves Georgia Southern. She watches Tyler Bass in the NFL now. It's those type of things that you have to create within your fan base. But it has to start with what happens at home. These guys at Georgia Southern are going to have to win some football games, and they're going to have to do it in a fashion where it means something to the person who's watching. That's how you create fans. So hopefully that will be the case. I can't wait to see how that plays out. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't have much more to say about that. I just want to leave it there because I feel that at the end of the day, you have to find a way to weed out the problems within a fan base. You just can't you can't go at them. I mean, Twitter timeline is going to be crazy. All that stuff is going to be what it is. You have to understand people are going to be fans of teams. That's just how it's going to be. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not happy for the Bulldogs. I mean, of course I am. That's a team in Georgia that won. I mean, I don't have nothing against the team per se, but I just don't root for them anymore because I can't deal with the fan base, because when you have a fan base, you have some people in this fan. And I know it may be a minority, and most of them on Twitter, but you have a lot of people in the fan base find out that you like Georgia Southern as well, or you are a Georgia Southern alum. They quick to chastise you for it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go all in on my team, which is these Eagles, and just keep it moving. I'm just not going to deal with this. So we just have to, whatever our fan base is going to be, we just have to continue to put a good product on the field. I don't care what anybody says. You put a good product on the field. If you go out there, you end up being in the top 25. You end up beating some of these Power 5 schools like we should have, or should have been doing. People are going to respect the team, and people are going to watch the team. People will support the team. Winning fixes all of this. So that's just how I'm going to leave it at that. So we'll see how things go within the coming months when the season starts. And we got Ball State on deck. We also have UAB. We got Nebraska. Man, we beat Nebraska. There's going to be a different tune around here. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the next topic. But before I do, and if you like this information, if you like this content, hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, share this video. Let people know what I'm doing. If you're on the podcast side of things, go over there and subscribe to the podcast. Let people know what I'm doing over here as well. Share it and give me a 5-star rating. Let's get into these Falcons really quick before I close, because, I like to do these shows between 20 and 30 minutes. Let's talk about these Falcons real quick. Terry Fontenot said at the exit press conference yesterday that they're looking into taking the best player available throughout the draft. I don't have a problem with this. I would like for them to get some needs, but they also said they're probably going to try to get more of the needs throughout the free agency side of things, which is very interesting when you look at that. So the needs are going to be for veterans or people who are out there that's actually, are capable of doing very well at the position. So you can get them at a pretty good price and you have that position fulfilled with experience. And I guess you get the best player available because you get the best player available to come in, and they will be able to learn how to be a good professional. I don't have a problem with this. There's also been saying that there's probably just for an example, I'm getting this out to falcoholic.com. Shout out to the falcoholic.com. Just as a, I'll just say as a, let's say a reference or whatever case may be. If Fontenot and company believe that the best player on the board is at number 8 is wide receiver is far better than a pass rusher that is ranked lower, they're going to likely pick that receiver without hesitation, which makes sense in that logic, because you want to get the best player available out there. Let's say, for instance, let's flip it around. Let's say Aiden Hutchinson. I think it's Aiden Hutchinson. So let's say if Hutchinson was not was available, but there's another receiver that's probably rated higher. Will you take Hutchinson or will you take the receiver? They're probably going to take the best player available. Now, do I agree with that? Looking at a receiver situation, probably yes, but see, that's looking at need. But they're looking at best player available because they're looking at a situation where those players are going to be the ones that's going to be around that you can build from. The ones that are needs, they're going to try to plug into as far as free agency. And I will be actually surprised if they do this for the entire draft. Like every player is the best player. I think it becomes one point where they may just go ahead and get somebody that's a need. Let's say, for instance, I'm just thinking, what would be a need? Let's say running back will probably be a need. Now, if there's a running back there and the best player available is a running back, I mean, it's almost the same thing. Or let's say, for instance, if there is I don't even know if I want to say quarterback, because I think the other two quarterbacks still going to be around. But you actually got 3. You got McCarron, you got Rosen. I think you kind of understand what I'm saying, because when you looking at but when you're looking at the best player, I just don't see that they'll do it. But they say that's what they will do. They said they'll use free agency to plug holes and try to keep it as affordable as possible. So at the end of the day, I think what they're doing, I think they're just going to be looking at talent and how much value they can get for the talent. Free agency or draft. Because if you get the best player in the draft, you're going you for the most part, you're not going to be paying too much money for any of the draft picks. Even first rounders, they're fairly cheap nowadays. They're not like how it used to be. But with free agency, let's say, for instance, if you can find a linebacker that you can get for $2 million that could probably give you high production. You know what I mean? So that's something that Fontenot may be looking at. Now, if you look at his track history when he was under Mickey Loomis, I think it was Mickey Loomis in New Orleans, that's what they basically did the entire time. They did a lot of value to where they got players based on value and not necessarily need. So let's look like that's what they're doing here. How do I feel about it at the end of the day? At the end of the day, I really feel that this is a really good recipe. Because throughout the draft, if you're getting the best player available, there's no problem with, because you're getting the best player available. You can't go wrong with that if you're truly getting the best player available. Now, the flip side of that, there's a lot of hit and miss on free agency. If you're going to do this to basically plug holes, you have to really be careful, because you don't want to get guys here that may not pan out very well. For instance, we kind of seen that with I think it was with Fabian Monroe. I like Fabian Monroe, but he had too many issues on playing corner. I think Harmon did okay. What's his name? Eric Harris. Yeah, I think that was a miss on that one too. So you got to be really careful. Who's going to replace Deion Jones if he's not going to be here? You know what I mean? What kind of pass rush are you going to get? Is the pass rusher that you're going to get, is he going to be the best player in the second round or the first round? Me personally, I've already said I think they should go offensive line in the first round, but I don't know how that's going to play out. Hey, we got 2 first-round picks, plus we may be getting rid of Calvin Ridley, so we may have a way to get back into the first round. You just never know how this is going to play out. But with that being said, I feel like we should still go offensive line first. Then we should go with what's the other edge rush or cornerback, and then go wide receiver. Because I don't think there's too many wide receivers out here that's going to be going like first round. I think the situation with Mechie and Jameson, I don't know if they're going pro or whatever, but if they are, I think it kind of messed up their the ACL injury kind of messed up the draft stock. They're probably going back a little bit, and that's if they're coming out. But whatever the case may be, you could probably get one of them in the third round or the late second or whatever the case may be. You just never know. But we do need a receiver. We need a couple of them actually, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think we definitely need some protection up front. There's no doubt about that. We need protection up front. We also need some pass rush. So I think Dante Fowler is so hit and miss. I mean, there was one time he was getting, I think he had like 3 or 4 strip sacks this season, but there's other times he just was disappeared. Don't know where he is. So I feel like offensive line, edge rush, cornerback, wide receiver. Not necessarily in that order, but I personally think that offensive line should be first, because the offensive line was terrible. Oh my God, it was terrible. But they may go defense. If they go defense, that's cool, and hopefully we'll address the offensive line situation down the road, or they may use free agency to use it, because they just said that here as well. So we'll see how that goes. Well, that's pretty much it for me on this episode. Hopefully you guys understood where I was coming from. As far as this fan base situation goes, hey, look, don't let it get you down. The main thing is we have to be the fan base that's staying tall and staying strong no matter what. We just went through a 3-9 season. And with that being said, we don't want to see that again, but we gotta continue to push and root for not only our players, but the coaches as well, for them to do the best they can. Because trust me, there's been a study out there to say they look at Twitter. They look at us. Some guys recruited that was recruited committed because of Twitter. You know, so every time I see somebody that's coming through, that's coming to visit Statesboro or receive the offer, I'm sitting there trying to send them a message, letting them know that they're supported. This fan base, myself, I'm gonna be out here on these podcasts talking about them. You guys, if you want to come to this school and actually perform and play at the highest level possible, why not? Why wouldn't I support that? Because I want to see this team put up some Sun Belt trophies. I want to see them get some bowl wins. I want to see us to win at the minimum 8 games. Minimum. Now I've been saying that 8 games minimum. So if you're here and you want to do that, I'm going to do whatever I can to support everybody that's involved with these players, whether it goes to the parents, the siblings, the player himself, anybody that's in this circle. You know, you guys give these kids support, because they want it. They want it. They're not here just because they want to play ball, and they're playing for a traditional school, and that right there, it means a lot. And you know, for a local guy like me, I want to see us all be successful as a fan base and as a team and a school and a program. As far as the Falcons, hey man, just another day in the office. The exit interview was there, press conference. I mean, it's time to get back to work. I mean, you know, they're on the clock. They're number 8. They're gonna be picking at number 8. And between now and then, we're gonna look at free agency. We're gonna be looking at all this other stuff and see how that plays out. In the meantime, we're going to be talking about these playoffs as well, because the playoffs they're going to be pretty interesting. It's the last little bit of football we got left. All right, y'all. Well, that we got left until the spring. All right, y'all. I will see y'all on the next one. Y'all be blessed. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your morning, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.